My name is Optimus Prime, and you're watching Tales from Teletraan.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Tales from Teletraan, man. And hey, I don't know how to put this, but we got a legend in the house today. That's right. We got BaCon in the house, man. You know you're a legend. You know it is. You know it's true.
By default.
So let's see. We got welcome in Ninja Bill. Says this should be awesome. What's going on, MC DJ? I told you I'm gonna pronounce it like that every time I see it. That was a long time ago. He also says BaCon for life, man. So yeah, man. As always, you guys know this. Tales from Teletraan is presented by tformers.com. And what other better way to present it than have BaCon on, you know? So that's what I did. So introduce yourself, BaCon. Go ahead. Tell them what you do, why you do it, and all that good, crazy stuff, man.
I'm BaCon, and I'm a toy addict.
Hi, BaCon.
Greetings to all you listeners out in YouTube land. Well, long story short, I started out just like you guys, picking up a toy and then another toy and then another toy. And then somebody told me about things like eBay and the interwebs. And only this was back in the late 90s and early 00s when, the internet was just kind of trying to figure itself out. So I just kept doing it all this time. And here we are. Tformers started in 2001, just actually as my little store online, but that didn't work out so well. So it kind of turned into a news thing to get people to look at the store, and the store went away. And what's left is what you have today. And just early on, it became kind of an outlet for content creators, and it's kind of just continued along that path all these years.
Now, when did the concrete creators, the content creators, when did they start showing up and posting, and how did that go? How did that turn out?
Oh, that started from the beginning. One of the actual internet fandom Transformers legends is this fellow named Remy Rhodey, and he ran the site called TFConCon, and he used to post these fantastic image galleries. Everyone went nuts over that stuff, and so really we just kind of started posting his images, and people would send in reviews, and eventually we set up the site so people could post their own reviews. And literally, I mean, like within the first year, in like 2001, 2002, people were posting their own reviews and text and stuff. You didn't quite have YouTube and all yet, but to this day, people still post their own reviews.
And they're just text reviews and stuff, right?
Text reviews. People would send in images, and it was a different time in the OOs because Asia and Europe and all those guys really hadn't quite caught up. So you had a lot of people coming in from those globally and posting images on the forums or emailing them to us. So it was kind of a lot of fun just finding this stuff and putting it online, and it was very small,
I could see a lot of the excitement and the oohs and the ahs and the like I said, the overall excitement for seeing some of the stuff that you only heard of or rumors of, especially back then. I mean, how many times did you hear of XYZ figure never came out, or is, and then I could only imagine a picture popping up and, there's like 30 of them in a guy's room in Japan. It's just like mind blowing,
Well, it was much slower then. I mean, you had you had one toy line at a time in America and one toy line at a time in Japan. I mean, one.
Right.
And the waves came out every 3 to 4, 6 months, whatever it was, and that was quiet times. There, you went to the store a lot. It was the same thing on the shelf.
Yeah, now it's like every time you turn around, man, it's godly. What's on the shelf now? You've got I'm still stuck on Siege and Earthrise. You got Legacy and Cyberverse and just
Studio series.
Yeah, Studio series. You got the little Jada line toy things, little diecast figures and stuff. And
oh yeah. And
God, man.
Legacy is lines of lines, right? You got the buzzworthy Bumblebee stuff in there, and then the Velocitron, and then the Wreck and Rule, and then they've got Cybertron, the series, and Beast Wars in there, and G1 in there. Wow, it's heavy.
Yeah, man. I mean, I could only imagine, like, because back then I was really into like RID and the Armada toys and stuff, and
this was right between Beast Wars and Rid, Beast Machines and Rid when I started the site.
Okay, so and yeah,
so we didn't have any idea about eHobby and all of those things that Takara were making at the time until just when you started having eBay and a few chance sellers putting stuff online. I don't know. Do you remember Action Figure Express?
Oh, it rings a bell, man. It really does.
Like before Big Bad Toy Store and all those guys.
What was that name again?
Action Figure Express. Toy Whiz was another early one.
Yeah, I remember Toy Whiz. I do remember Toy Whiz. Yeah, I know they had all the promotional stuff for Toy Whiz that you would see in like different magazines and stuff. Always fascinated me. I don't know. It was like there's something about the internet and buying something off the internet that really fascinated me. It's like as a kid and as a young adult and everything,
Oh well, we were still in the magazine day, so Toy Whiz was a spin-off or a bootstrap from Wizard World, which is pretty much kind of gone now.
Right.
So we still had Toy Fair and Tow Mart, Toy Review, and I'm trying to remember the other magazines that were like that. Those were the things you bought and were like, "Ooh, look, new toys."
Right. No, that's bringing me back to the late 90s, early thousands, where I would buy out of Delia's catalogs, and every time they came in, I was so excited, and I would sit there and circle and star all the clothes I wanted to buy. That was the time that you just
catalog
back to.
Right. I remember opening up. Now I'm gonna take some people back. Toy Fair magazine. That was a spinoff of Wizard, and they had shown a what was it, the RID Optimus Prime fire convoy, they had a picture of him, and they had him outside of his combined mode or in his outside of super mode, inside of super mode, right? And I was just like thinking, I go, man, dude, that Optimus Prime looks cool, but what's who's the other guy next to him, and just no idea about like car robots or anything else, and just I was so fascinated by it. And then I finally found out what it was, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, it did come out over here. I need to get it. So
yeah, and those were just like amazing toys. I mean, even still today, I think they really stand out.
Oh, dude, they're fantastic. I mean, they've held up so well over the last 25 years now.
Yep.
And they still stand out. They're still highly recognizable, and they're still really, really well articulated. I mean, even if you look at somebody like X-Braun in that line, you know, if Hasbro was to revisit him, the only real upgrade I could see them doing is maybe adding some wrist swivel, and I mean, and then that's pretty much it. You know, it's damn near perfect. So
Yeah, well, I agree with you. I think if they did those Autobot brothers, the Sideburn and what was the other one, Prowl,
yeah,
they would be a step down in the current Legacy Generations line from those toys.
yeah, I agree, because it's just one of those things. Like, I know, me and
And
Cable,
Fire Convoy, obviously.
yeah, Fire Convoy would be a massive step down. Just really, I think just because of the base mode that you get with Fire Convoy, it wouldn't be as big, it wouldn't be as grandiose, and I don't know, it just wouldn't hit. But we say all that, but then their Galaxy Upgrade Prime, was that for Cybertron? Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
And they knocked that one out of the park. I mean, it's a great update, and it doesn't take away from the original figure. It's not a replacement for the original figure. It's like a companion piece, you know?
Yeah, and I think it would have been even better if, for whatever reason they never explained, it was kind of just a partial that they made off the Leader Prime or the Ultra Magnus. And, they haven't really kind of answered, where that fit into all that. But I guess it's more of a legacy idea than it was a WFC.
It is a weird choice. I mean, because you end up losing the flight mode. But then I don't know, man, because if you think back to like the Power of the Primes Optimal Optimus, they got rid of the flight mode for that one as well, didn't they? They got rid of one of the modes for Optimal Optimus and Power of the Primes.
I don't remember because I hated. I was just so like, what? Why? I never opened it.
Oh, yeah. I want to say it was.
Like, not to get on a tirade about what's better and the re-release is worse. That definitely was a step down. So.
Yeah, I didn't. I ended up skipping that figure because it was missing the flight mode, and or the car mode. Man, I don't remember. It was missing one of them. Dang
it.
Well,
they did a lot of weird stuff where they had the little primal come out of it too, the Beast Primal, and I can accept that. Where they kind of mix it up a little bit. So if you're not going to get the actual clone of the old figure, a straight reissue, they kind of make it more exotic, like they did with that Evolution Prime.
And I did like the Evolution idea for him because it worked really cool, and I like the way they were able to fit you had Optimus Primal, the Black Gorilla, and then you had the homage to his Transmetal Blue Gorilla skateboard flight board thing in there as well. And that was really cool. So it's kind of, they crammed all three in there.
Yeah.
And for that, I do appreciate that. But I mean, when I saw it, and I was like, oh man, he's missing the third mode. This ain't Optimus Prime or Optimal Optimus. Man,
But even now, if you look at it, it's a big figure, man. We're not going to get another figure in that scale that is a leader again.
Oh, definitely not. I mean, it's weird to say this, but I kind of, figures of that scale, of that, I guess, simplicity for Hasbro and all that, I mean, that's long gone at this point. And they did it for so long. That's why, to me, it's weird to say that, Their deluxes are coming with, I don't know, 70-piece part counts and crazy stuff now, and where their deluxe just 3 or 4 years before that. I mean, like Titans Return Chrome Dome, right? Like that's
Yeah.
what, maybe 15 pieces or something, it's like, and a lot, less engineering, less whatever, and it's just like, dang, okay. But so this is where we're at now. All right. So,
Well, I mean, I think they've been very creative about how they got us there by also starting to put out a lot of really cheap, awful stuff like we had with the Cyberverse and the Bumblebee movie. It was like, like self-decomposing plastic level stuff.
yeah, that's true.
And all of a sudden it's like, wow, the studio series and Generations looks great.
I think they did that on purpose. I think that's what they did. They're like, let's take the hit on this one, guys, and funnel all of everything over to Generations and Studio Series. Just
Well,
what is it? What's the saying? You sell you sell you give the razors for free and then sell the blades or whatever.
yeah. Well,
Right.
I think that's something that they already knew pretty well from all the other toys they sell, Star Wars and G.I. Joe. Those are all small figures. And
Yeah.
I'm sure for a long time they were looking at those going, how could we bring all this down to that level and market it the same way?
Yeah. I mean, and you think too, like they for Star Wars, Marvel Legends, and stuff like that, they have. I'm sure they can go to Disney and get some ideas and stuff of how to market. Hey, what movie's coming out? Hey, what show's coming out? Hey, what and they can in turn turn around and apply that to their own brands. Their G.I. Joes, Transformers, Power Rangers now.
I'm sure they do gobs of focus groups and user testing and market research. I don't think they're throwing a dart at a board or anything. And you could see it because, and to me the most obvious one is that new Transformers movie, The Rise of the Beast, right? It's like it's got the word rise of, where there's like 80 new things that are the rise of this in the last couple of years, and they're
Right.
folding in jungle animals and all of these kind of things that kids love. They're always trying to kind of pivot the Transformers that way. Like I look at the BotBots cartoon as kind of a poke at the trolls, right?
Right. I will say this about that BotBots cartoon: the only thing I like the card. If you guys haven't watched the BotBots cartoon, to me it's funny. I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, it's extremely well done.
But I will say, Hasbro, please come on now. Where are the deluxe BotBot figures? Like the little tiny figures aren't doing it for me now that I've watched the cartoon. I gotta have at least a deluxe scale BotBots, just to mess around with. So, and that's them right there. That's them doing their job. I had the same feeling when I watched Cyberverse. I was like, man, I need some Generations transformation type of abilities here, right? After I watched the cartoon, now I watched BotBots, and I'm like, man, I gotta have deluxe class BotBots now. On something somewhere.
They have those little vehicles that are coming out. I think that's as close as they get.
I saw that. Yeah, they got the pizza racer and stuff, and which good on them, because there was that one card. There was that episode where they did that race, and I'm not trying not to spoil anything, but they did a race, and I think they're coming out with a good majority of the cars that were in that episode. So good on them, because kids can now replicate that episode and do whatever they want to do with them, and which is really, really cool. I really dig that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a specific play pattern they're going through. You've probably seen like The Littlest Pet Shop and all of these toys where you have a jumbo pack of little figures that kids are into now.
The Shopkins, and
Shopkins, that's another.
I like teeny tiny figures.
I do too. I'm a sucker for PVCs.
Yeah, she is. She is. I haven't introduced her to the Transformer decoys yet because that's a road.
Oh no! Don't get me started on that. I'm really brain damaged with my Prime collecting, and I try to get even all the different colors and stuff.
Is that all you collect is Prime?
About 85%. I mean, there's still, I bought a good chunk of the War for Cybertron, and there's all the fringe stuff you can't resist, right?
Right.
But I am a voracious Prime collector, and it's gotten to the point where it's like it's either impossible to find or crazy expensive, and I don't want to spend the money on it.
I don't blame you there. There've been a couple of figures like I guess you call them like Holy Grail figures that I pulled the trigger on them, and right before I did, I was like, man, am I about to spend this much money on a toy? And then
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and then I just closed my eyes and hit buy it now, and it's like, yup, just did.
Oh, definitely. I mean, and it doesn't happen overnight, right? At first, it's that $50. I've never spent that much on a toy. Then $100.
Yeah,
and then $2, and then $3, and then it really. You could do a whole show on the psychology of collecting.
Oh, 100%. And I think you could start it. I mean, I think you could start it off in you pretty much start it wherever you wanted to, right? But I would want to start it off in like the 80s where all of these cartoons were marketing, collect them all. And then you had Pokemon thrown in there. You got to collect them all, It's like you went from looking at the back of the box saying, collect all 32 or collect them all and stuff. And then Pokemon shows up and they hit you with gotta collect them all. Like, you're right, Nintendo, I do.
Oh, it started way before that with Howdy Doody. These were shows that were mostly funded by toy companies, so they either made their own or sold them for other toy companies. So TV really early on realized, wow, we can just totally whatever we put on here, they'll buy.
That's fair. That's very
and it got
fair.
so out of control, it became illegal to sell a toy for your show in the show.
That's true.
So
they just did a 30-minute commercial.
Yeah, exactly. So some brilliant guy was like, well, let's just make the whole show about the toy.
Right. We can't advertise in our own show. Right? We can't advertise in our own show, but they didn't say we couldn't make a show. Like, golly, man. Yeah, it's crazy.
But you're right. I mean, I think, we're so far into that, but I wasn't even getting down into the cultural aspects. I'm thinking of the personal ones, that little voice in your head that's like, well, if I do this, I could get that thing, or if I do that.
Right, right.
I'll sell those other 5 I have and fund this, and you never do.
I saw a buddy of mine. He sent me an eBay link today, and it's the God Jinrai bracelets. They're the I keep wanting to say cosplay. It's not the role play.
Yeah,
the role play bracelets for God Jinrai from Master Force, and they're still sealed. And I'm looking at this eBay listing, going, okay, what can I sell? I got to get those. Those are so cool.
Oh God.
How much are they going for? I'm glad I didn't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I could see myself right now, I probably wouldn't, but I could just see myself opening up the package and running through the house, Master Force, and then clanging them together and stuff. And I mean, that's if they would fit my wrist, right? Like those are made for a
I don't
6-year-old.
know. We
You'd
have
have to be
those
pretty
Chun-Li
skinny.
bracelets that are living on the Bowser in my office, and you haven't played with those in a long while.
Well, that's true, but I forgot all about those Chun-Li bracelets. So
I won't ask.
Okay.
But that's a perfect example of how nerdy you start getting into collecting, and it's like suddenly you're kind of making your own broth here.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna collect cosplay Optimus Prime thing.
Do you got any cosplay Optimus Prime things?
I have some masks, and I have a lot of interesting stuff. I have some Star Saber slippers,
Ooh,
What?
Ultra Magnus snow boots, and things like
okay,
that.
that's cute.
I have to find me some Star Saber slippers. Were those official, or were those like an
Yeah,
Etsy thing? Yeah.
they're on the Daily Prime if you want to take a picture.
We're gonna get
see
a
a
little-
shot of them.
We're gonna get a little R-rated here, but I used to work for an adult novelty store when we first started dating.
Mhm.
And anything that was nerdy that came through that store I bought. So there would be toys of like
I
Zelda
can
and
imagine.
stuff that I would purchase.
Or I can't imagine. It gets really nerdy, once you get through the basic, 10 or 20 stock action figures that anyone would think of to have in Optimus Prime. The fringes are really wild and woolly.
That's true. There are times we went to we were in Austin a couple of weeks ago, and there was a He-Man Halloween mask.
Oh yeah, for like $20-something.
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys remember, right? Like the old Halloween costumes. It would just be like a sheet of plastic with whatever character's thing painted on the front, and then those really really thin Halloween masks.
Yeah, and it would be that like just a little better than paper mache cloth thing.
Yeah,
just a picture on the front.
Exactly. It would just be like you would have like
radioactive.
Superman. You'd have Superman's tights, no S, but it would just be a picture of Superman flying, right? And then like a Superman mask for you to wear.
Like in the Stretch Dude and Clobber Girl episode of The Simpsons, where Milhouse comes around and is all like, "I'm Radioactive Man. You're just a dork in a plastic hat and his PJs."
Yeah.
I forgot the
Collegeville
line,
was
the
the
punchline.
company who made all of those. They were basically the exact same costume with a different face and a picture on the front of the outfit.
Right. Yeah, we found that mask at the at an antique store, and I was like, "Oh, dude, this is so cool!" And everyone was looking at me like, What is that?" And I was like, "It's a He-Man mask." And they were just like, bruh, calm down." Like it, what I'm saying? And I was like, "Man, this is super cool." And I don't know. I get super geeky and nerdy about things like that, because I almost feel like the characters are always going to be there. There's always going to be a company that produces a cup. There's always going to be somebody who produces like a lunchbox or a thermos or something with whatever character. T-shirts. Yeah. But when you start getting into like the vintage Halloween mask or like the Star Saber slippers or whatever, like that's the Ultra Magnus radio, right?
Yeah.
The amount of Simpsons paraphernalia that I have, and the fact that I had to tell input no more Simpsons stuff. We will be the old people living in the Simpsons shoes. That's
Oh my gosh.
Like I had to stop, like stuffies, toys, CDs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Simpsons is incredibly vast. It's endless, and you just described the same thing I faced, where it's like, oh my God, I've got so much stuff. I'm running out of room. I can't keep track of it anymore. You start to lose perspective eventually when your only criteria is something that I don't have.
pretty much. I did. Oh, go ahead, Oracle.
No, I was just saying my whole Monster High addiction with G1 Monster High. Like, I think I ended up buying like so many dolls. Like, I'm now down to one Banker's box, and I'm thinking about getting rid of more of these dolls.
Yeah, I was going through the closet in Oracle's office when it was the media room, and I was pulling out stuff out of that closet, like video game stuff. I mean, posters, cardboard cutouts, advertisement stuff from when I worked at GameStop twice. Just so much stuff that I forgot I had, and it was so overwhelming because it just was overwhelming and never ending. I was like, God, I've held on to all this stuff for this long. It's just, Devil May Cry 3 poster from GameStop that was just made to advertise for just GameStop or whatever, right? So you're absolutely right. You do lose perspective on it. And what's unfortunate is a lot of the stuff just goes forgotten about, because you lose perspective. You throw it in a drawer, you'll throw it in a closet or something like that. And it just kind of sits there, and sometimes you don't get to enjoy it because you end up getting so much, right?
Well, I think it's all cumulative. I think by the time you get to that level that you know enough about all that stuff that you want it, it's entertainment for you. But I mean, it's hard to reconcile, like you said, what the normal person in the store would be thinking about this guy freaking out about a He-Man mask. But at Comic-Con, right on, right?
That's true. That He-Man mask would have sold for triple the price at a Comic-Con.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of the gravity, right? Comic-Con is like the core of the earth.
Right at this point.
Pulling us all down and making us want to be, every bit the collector we can. I don't know. I mean, but I actually love that it's like this now, because I think before it really opened up, and for me that was the 2007 Transformers movie.
Yeah,
they put out so much stuff then. I couldn't possibly collect all the Optimus Prime stuff, which was my goal was to have all of it, and be the guy who has the biggest collection. But it was like, oh, that's it. I throw in the towel. I'm done with this. I can't keep up. And I kind of gave up. And then it took about 5 years. And I realized, oh, well, this is much better, because now I can kind of focus on what I want. And I don't have to feel like, there's a contest anymore. You can't possibly, like, I remember in the OOs, it was everyone's goal to have all the G1 toys, which was very hard to do back then, and very expensive.
It's almost really difficult to do it nowadays too, just because of the price on some of this stuff.
Yeah, but you almost can't, because so much of your funds are going to be diverted to Masterpiece and Generations and all of that fringe stuff. It's really hard to be that pure.
Right. I have a buddy who sticks. I mean, that's it. It's just G1. That's it. No question.
I still know a lot of people that want that complete display, which I totally get. I was on that train too. And at some point, It was like, wow, I can sell all that and buy more Prime.
Yeah, I had a come to Jesus moment with myself a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, okay, all the Galvatron stuff out there, I want, but I can't have it, and I found it was a 2-pack with Rodimus Prime that was a Hong Kong figure 2-pack, and it was Galvatron and Hot Rod, and they also did one with Ultra Magnus, and the only difference between the two Galvatrons is the year that's stamped on the foot. That's it. So I was like, I got to find that Galvatron, man. I got to find the one that's, stamped 1986. Not because I have the one that's stamped 87, but I need to find the one that's stamped 86. And I was like, doesn't matter. It's the same thing, just with a different stamp year on the foot and everything, so.
Well, it really moves away from you because you start out wanting those things when you don't know all of those rare things existed, right? When I declared I was going to collect all the Optimus Prime, I had no idea what was out there. And, you're starting to look for that yellow Keshi figure.
No, man.
And there's like 3 or 4 different Keshis that you want to get. And there's the jumbo Keshis. It's like, oh my God.
Right.
I've already committed. I have to have that.
Right. Yeah, I did the convoy, the fire convoy, the Sam's Club yellow one, and the original, the regular retail release, right? And I said, because I wanted that figure so much growing up, and I finally got my hands on it. And I was thinking to myself, this is the greatest figure of all time. I need to get the yellow one. Got the yellow one. And then I found out there was the lucky draw black one. And I was like, I got to find the black one now. And then it just, no.
Did you end up getting that? I could never bring myself to pay the money for it, which I wish I did when it came out, because now it's like, oh, forget that.
I found it at TFCon in 2019, and I didn't pull the trigger on it, and I had it. I was looking at it. It was in my hand. The guy was asking what I thought was reasonable, but in the back of my mind, it was like, you need gas to get home, because I drove to LA from Texas.
Oh boy!
And it was like, I was like, you need gas to get home, man. Don't put your gas money into this figure, then you're stranded, right? So,
yeah, it's always been a lot, but I was real happy that third party came out. One came out. I can't remember the name now.
The Banana Force one, yeah.
The Banana Force one. I was like, sold. I grabbed that in like 2 minutes.
Right. I mean, I don't blame you. That figure, the Lucky Draw one now is. I mean, when I was looking at it, the guy was asking $800 for it.
It's bargain.
Yeah, and
but, you'll see them on eBay and all that stuff for 3, 5, 10,000. But it doesn't mean people are paying that. That's how long ago was that you saw it?
2019. Yeah, 2019.
That's pretty recent.
Yeah,
I've read that there's actually hundreds of them, that there were a lot more made than they really said there were, and they get around, and that's why the prices have been coming down over the years.
I can see that. I mean, we saw with here with was it the black big convoy, the Toys R Us one?
Yeah,
we're starting to see a drop in price with him.
The Nucleon Quest one.
No, the big convoy, the black, black and gold one. Yeah,
I had that one.
But yeah, we're starting to see a drop in price with him, because I think people are starting to realize what you're saying about the RID Lucky Draw Prime is there's more out there, and they're starting to get out there, and it's not as, I don't want to say not as rare, because it's a figure on the rare side, but it's not like a 10 out of 10 rare that people perceived it to be for so long.
Well, I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about how much product there is out now. People don't have a reason to buy rare stuff as much anymore when you've literally got 3 or 4 lines going at the same time, and it's really good stuff. I mean, why are you going to drop $600 on some, or 300, even 300 on a vintage piece when you've got really great stuff coming out straight from Hasbro into Cardiff?
Yeah.
I think that's their strategy, really, is to undermine, rightfully, their business, all the money people are spending on third party and collectible vintage stuff.
I can see that, and I can definitely see that. And I think at some point, because Hasbro messed up, and they said that they they watch all the social media. They lurk on the forums and all this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they said that, they messed up because my mind immediately went, they have an intern on eBay all day long. How much is this
They do.
going for?
Just FYI, they do.
Yeah, see, there you go. Wait, how do you know that?
I worked in advertising. What do you think? You don't think that the car dealers that I had me scoping out the Kelly, what people are selling this car for and everything like that? Yeah, they have someone.
Oh, fair. Okay, that's a fair point. Okay. So
well, I think it's even more intelligent than that there are third-party companies who you can buy corporate reporting on collectible prices from everyone from Sotheby's all the way down to who's the newest, online seller, Mercari and Facebook.
right.
And Craigslist has been kind of this. I've never used them for toys, but for musical instruments and cars and stuff, they're huge.
Yeah, and they definitely have somebody that's there watching the sales and seeing what they can. I mean,
well, I can't imagine that they're going. These guys are paying $75 for a Legends figure from some dude in China. What the heck? Why are we charging 25?
yeah, right.
Come on, and they're blowing them out. There are
Right.
people gobbling up those new age toys and the Magic Square stuff.
Like I'm telling you, ad agencies and industry leaders have psychologists on hand to help with the branding and trying to get people to buy their product. I mean, they're going to do everything in their power to manipulate the buyer to buying their product.
Well, and think about this. What I find really fascinating about third party when it comes to Hasbro third party, the war or whatever you want to call it, right? But what is really fascinating to me, everything from third party is word of mouth, and you don't see commercials for them, you don't see anything like that, but places, Chosen Prime, Toy Dojo, Big Bad Toy Store, whatever, they all carry third party and Hasbro, right? But third party's success has been all through word of mouth. Hasbro, they've got their marketing team, they've got everyone who sits down with focus groups and all that stuff and asks kids and people, what do you want to see out of this and that and everything else. And third party not having all of that has been able to compete with Hasbro on some level. That to me, that's just fascinating to me. It's super. It's one of those things where I find it's fascinating and it's really, really cool to see somebody like New Age, somebody who collects only New Age, just say, nah, I know Hasbro's doing that figure. I'll wait for the New Age one, or doing that character. I'll wait for the New Age one or something, it's just.
Well, I think, and I don't know if that's what you meant by them, Hasbro fucking up. And was it in that they were saying that they were looking online, or that they waited too long to jump into that, compete with the MP3 guys?
No,
3P guys.
So no, what I meant by that was to me, Hasbro messed up when they said that they lurk on the forums and they do all this stuff and everything. But that where they messed up is that they just admitted that they have somebody watching the sales and they're watching eBay and Mercari, and they're watching all these different places to see what these figures are going for. So whenever they do the re-release or the reissues or something like that, right? It goes back to what you're saying about Hasbro, undermining a lot of those sales with some of their reissues or some of the current releases or something like that, right?
Well, you're spot on, but that's nothing new. There was even an ad talking about these old magazines. I did a Daily Prime on it once where it's the old when they released the Toys R Us G1 Optimus Prime reissue the first time.
The one with the DVD, right?
No, the from 2002.
Okay. Yeah.
They did those first G1 reissues at Toys R Us, and I forgot it was Optimus Prime and Hot Rod and Ultra Magnus, and actually maybe even before that there was a Starscream.
Yeah, I think there was. That sounds right.
Anyway, so there was literally an ad in Toy Wiz magazine in Toy Fair magazine and also in previews, and the ad said $15 at an auction site or $39.99 at Toys R Us.
Yeah.
So there you go. This is from 2002. So they've always been trying to walk that line of, enticing the collectors. And I'm sure that they looked at the Beast Wars and saw how much those toys have been going for. I know personally because I had a huge number of them that I sold just a couple of years ago, and I'm like, boy, I'm glad I did, because the prices have just tanked. I mean, before they put out those Walmart figures, a Cheetor was about $65. Complete Primal Optimus Primal was close to $100 with the paperwork, and in the box it was pushing $200 if it was sealed. So now you can't even get the retail price for that figure now.
Right. And I think what kind of drove it to that was, Beast Wars fans starving. I think Primal was the first. No, Cheetor was the first masterpiece Beast Wars figure, wasn't he?
Cheetor or Dinobot? I don't know. Or Megatron?
No. I mean, those.
Cheetor.
It had to be Cheetor. Had to have been Cheetor. I mean, that Cheetor figure was the first good Cheetor figure since '95. So it just.
Well, the first season one. I always thought the Transmetal toy was great.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Season 1 Cheetor, the first good season 1 Cheetor since '95. Because I don't have any problems with any of the original Cheetors. So when you start getting into the later Cheetors, like what is it? The Universe Cheetor, where he was he's just real lanky and just weird looking.
Oh yeah, the Generations one, and even in Beast Machines, they got all real long and skinny and weird. And even though I loved the character in the show, the toys were just, we don't need to go there.
I will say this. I am probably the only fan in the world that loves that Ultimate Cheetor. Just have to put it out there.
Oh, the massive, huge one? I still have that in a box. It's been sitting on the floor, and I'm like, what am I going to do with that? It would be $50 just to ship it.
Well, if you ever want it off your hands, I'll take it. Okay, just throwing it out there, man.
Really? Let's talk.
All right, yeah, man, for sure. Let's talk. I'm 100%. I love that Cheetor. Do what?
I just said, dear Lord.
I mean, honestly, that thing was massive, man. It really was.
How massive are we talking? You were talking the other day about getting rid of some of your larger figures.
Well, okay.
Oh no.
Right. This is one of those oh no moments, right?
I think that box is like a foot or two long at least.
Oh, that never mind.
Yeah.
I can't complain with the size of the Monster High dolls that are in my office at the moment.
Yeah, I mean that I think when he's transformed and in robot mode, he's got to be what, 15 inches tall or so, give or take.
Yeah, I mean, I never opened it. was literally like, whoa, where am I going to put this? And there's a lot. I have a lot of figures like that. Primus and how many Omega Supremes from Cybertron and Energon, and
Oh man.
it's like they get played with a little while. Fort Maxes, and they get shoved back in the box and put up on the top shelf. Because
I feel you, man. I will put things in a box, or I'll shift things around in a DTOF, and then just to find out that what I want to put in there doesn't fit,
or it's too small, or not enough.
Right? Like just today, I was moving around the 86 movie stuff, the Pit of Judgment. And I took that whole thing, that whole diorama and all that stuff out of the DTOF, and I went to go put my Lyle convoys in there, and I had got this awesome display thing where TFCC Lyo convoy is riding the original Lyo convoy and the Masterpiece Lyo convoy.
Awesome.
Right? Like he's got a chain in his hand, and the chain is wrapped around the neck of the original Lyo convoy. So and I'm like, yeah, this looks cool, man. And then I go to put the Pit of Judgment in the office, and it's too tall for any of the shelves in here. And I was like, oh, man. All right. Back in the DTOF you go. The Lyo convoys go back in the office.
Yeah. So maybe, Hasbro moving to smaller figures is not such a bad thing.
Hey, that's a positive way to look at it. More space, right?
Well, I mean, that's it kind of goes back to what we're talking about. You end up starting with one figure and the two figures, then it kind of becomes like this self-propelling thing where it's like, oh, now I got to get shelves for this, and your new fantasy is to have a great display. And
right.
Right before the pandemic, I was literally was all ready to remodel my whole office. Almost every wall would be a display case with a desk embedded somewhere in it and all. And IKEA ran out of stuff. I haven't been even to this day, I can't get the doors I want and the right pieces I want. And at this point, it's like,
jeez, man.
Maybe not.
I've been looking out because what I do, like, I recently got an IKEA desk. He moved the media room, moved the media room out of the third bedroom. And now that I'm in a permanent hybrid situation with work, we converted the third bedroom into the media room into my office. And I ended up going online looking for stuff. And I'm like, I want black shelves for the office because we have the entertainment center that I'm converting into a craft station. And I go to IKEA, and the black Billy half tall bookshelves are like $70, and then the white bookshelves are like $49.99. Like, what? Like, I don't get it.
Oh,
and these are the half height
they
bookshelves.
jacked up the price to meet the demand. That's messed up.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm here thinking, why are the whites cheaper? Like, I don't get it. Because for the longest time, I am an avid IKEA person. You can ask Input this. I am very well aware of IKEA prices. And the black and birch used to be cheaper than the white because the white was always in high demand pre-pandemic. So it just mind boggled me, like, what?
Yeah, I could. There's only two IKEAs within 100 miles of me, and the Bay Area is pretty crowded. So so many people move in and out of here. They're constantly sold out since the pandemic.
Yeah, the Houston one is like bad. Like we're growing exponentially, and it's so hard to get stuff here.
And I think because it's actually really good stuff for the money, and you can buy exactly what you want. But dog nabbit, you can't get it. I want those same Billy cases, and they have those clear doors that make really nice toy shelves. But they have the doors, but no shelves.
Yeah, I have a ton of books, and by ton of books, there's at least 20 banker boxes at my parents that I need to bring over here filled with books. And and if you're a book person, they come in like the small sizes, they come in
Yep.
medium, then they come in like exponentially large. What the heck was I thinking buying this gigantic
The
thing?
Yep, the coffee table books go on the bottom shelf or the top shelf, either or.
And I have this one bookshelf, and I had to show input. I'm like, look, I love the bookshelf that's in here, but it has static shelves and on it. You can't move the shelves. And I showed him these 2 rows where it's literally the like the romance novel size books. I don't know what else to call them, but they're just the regular paperbacks. And
Paperbacks.
there's it's like half and half, like half of it's filled and the other half is just wide open air of empty shelving space because the books are so small. And I told him this is why I want the Billy shelves, because at least I can customize the shelves to fit the books.
Yeah, and I'm really bad. I also try to save all my boxes and stuff because I don't know.
Oh, those those banker boxes at my parents, that was me going through the books and getting rid of stuff. Oh, this was from college that I'm never ever going to read ever again. Toss. Oh, this was a book I used to read on and off after college. I'm going to keep that, Like, I think I donated what would have been probably around 40 boxes. I think I donated
Well,
more than
before
half.
the internet, you kept books around just because you'd need them for a reference one day. But now it's like, oh gosh, what? I don't even pull out CDs and albums anymore. I usually just look it up on YouTube.
Not us.
Yeah, not in this house. No, I still buy CDs. The radio in my car is a CD player from 2003. But my defense, it is a competition radio, so
He's not getting rid of that.
yeah,
I still buy them. It's hard to keep up with, all that stuff when it's so you're just working and you're like, I'd like to hear that song. And it's playing, right?
I spent a good portion of the pandemic cataloging my entire music collection, like actually going around and using a MP3 tag and putting the cover art and then the information. It's track 3 of this album by this band. Like, I was so bored. You have no idea how bored I was. And I would sit there and, like, down to the genre, I was there with Google going, okay, and I'm like, Donald or input, what's butt rock? Like, what the heck is butt rock? What's shoegaze? What the hell is all of this? I have no clue. I'm so confused. And he's explaining it to me, and I'm just like, none of it. Like, my head is, and I was actually ripping all my CDs to my music, so that way I had at least them digitized. These CDs that I've had since 1994. Like, it was just a lot of work. And now I finally have a playlist in my car for all my MP3s that I'm still waiting on Input's edition, since he uses my car a lot too.
Wow.
But yeah. And I'm going to go through all of those.
It's funny you say you did that during the pandemic. I think we all adopted something, and that's how the Daily Prime started. I was like, well, gosh, I got this huge collection, and I just hoard it all away. I never share it. So I just started pulling something out and putting it up. And oddly enough, it turned into this huge journey of other stuff, like you said, cataloging and organizing and categorizing. And, all of a sudden I'm finding myself figuring out how the camera works and looking at everybody else's pictures and becoming obsessed with that, on how to take good pictures, and then that kind of got me back into my collecting again and filling in all those spots that were open.
I got back into my artwork, and then I started doing a lot of crochet, like taught myself how to crochet, and now I'm teaching myself how to do like freeform crochet where there's no patterns, but I'm going to make it look like an art piece, like a crocheted art piece. And Input has heard me cuss, I think, a million times trying to figure that thing out. So it's a work in progress, because it's blind leading the blind here with it. But I completely
creative
understand going
outlet
down
is
a
the
rabbit hole.
important part.
Yeah. It is just, I love crochet. I like crochet because it keeps my hand busy, but I curse myself every day for actually teaching myself how during the pandemic.
I mean, I wouldn't feel too bad about it if I were you. I think like BaCon was saying, you know, we all kind of adopted something and learned new skills. I mean, we all sat at home for however long it was and just bored out of our minds. We didn't have anything to do. We had 8 hours to kill throughout the day. You know?
I mean, I worked, but even then, you remember how it was for me. I would get all my emails out on Monday, and then the rest of the week was me just going, okay, I am waiting for all my emails to be returned so I can actually do something. So I taught
Right.
myself how to crochet or catalog my music or you guys are going to find this absolutely insane, but I went through all my jewelry pieces in my collection because I used to custom make jewelry. I don't as much anymore unless someone requests it. And I cataloged every single piece of jewelry, making pieces, jewelry findings in the house into a Microsoft Access database that I can plug into a receipt and it'll automatically adjust my inventory with pricing and everything. Like that's how
Wow.
bored I was.
That's my project sitting unloved. I got this spreadsheet with like 10 primes added into it because I'm literally at the point where I don't know if I have some things or not, and it's like, oh crap, or I'll find out about some variant and I just need to put it in there that I don't have it, and that's not happening. Who's going to sit for hours? You know, it's literally days and days of tack.
Right.
Actually, we rent, and I made an Microsoft Access database for our insurance company for input. So you can take a picture of his entire collection, and that's video games, that's movies, that's everything that has some value of worth for our insurance company. So that way I could just send them the spreadsheet with the photo that has an option for photos. So I could send them the spreadsheet and go, here. And I keep forgetting to give it to them. I'm busy for a week.
Oh, I don't even want to think about that. If some tragedy befall my
they keep
beloved
asking me
collection, can you imagine talking to the insurance guy? No, this one piece, it was really valuable. Look, it's right there in that little pile of red goo.
Well, we live in Hurricane Alley, so I'm more worried about them becoming soggy and gross.
Or I always wonder this at tax time because, you know, I write off and claim everything I buy and sell. And I'm like, how would they know how much this is really worth?
Right. I mean,
there are things I'm saying are worth $300 and others that I'm saying are worth $3. And if you sat your mother down and showed her both, she'd be like, they both look like they're worth $3 to me.
Right.
No, I even have a section on that spreadsheet of suggested appraisal value for it. So, and then with support, like here's this eBay link of it being sold for and whatever you find it being reasonable. And I told input, just put the one that someone paid $1,000 for. They're not going to know the difference. So,
well,
they will when it comes to your audit.
Yeah, I was going to say when it comes to the audit, they'll know for sure.
Well, you know, it's fascinating. What's really interesting is, you know, I'm going through and I sold a lot of old stuff, you know, Armada things, and, you know, I'm claiming it on the insurance and I'm like, sold it for $60 and paid $8.99. But
no,
you know, if you don't have the receipt, the IRS will say, well, then just use today's retail price. And I'm thinking, well, gosh, right there, that toy I paid $9 for is now worth 4 times more, just even if they came and audited me today.
I work in a university library and we get gifts in kind, which is like a physical item that gets donated versus a monetary donation.
Yeah.
And that's what they request us to do too. Use what it says on Amazon as the monetary value. So I go into Amazon and I research this one book. Oh, there's only one copy being sold on Amazon and it retailed originally at $39.99 because it was a coffee table book. Now it's worth $2,000. okay, then that's what Amazon said. I'm going to go with it.
Jesus.
It's crazy.
I mean, they don't really have any other way to go about it, I guess.
We would need to hire an appraiser, which I am. So everybody knows the politics of where I work. I am very pro appraiser. Like, please take this off my hands. I have I don't know how to put this eloquently, so I'm just not gonna. Let's just say I have cataloged and priced books, erotica books of various sexualities, which is
Fetishes.
fun. Fetishes. Oh my god, it's been so much fun reading through these synopses. I'll text it to input whenever I find one that's actually really hilarious. But
Oh, I used to work in a bookstore. I totally understand.
so you have no idea how much fun I had researching these books and getting a value on them, even if they were $1. And then me texting it to input like, oh my god, you will not believe the plot to this book. And I'm reading the comments on Amazon. It's amazing. But I would be more than happy to have an appraiser come in, not an in-house, but a hired appraiser on staff.
I think with the IRS, they're generally just looking to see if you're lying. So as long as everything you have looks plausible and it's research, you're generally okay as long as it's not completely fabricated.
Yeah, that's been my biggest thing because I'm the type of person to like CYA. Like here's a screenshot with the date, the time, and like down to the millisecond of when I researched this. So you can go back and if it's changed, obviously it changed from that specific date. I have a link to the page on the spreadsheet that I make. So if they look at the printed page and they're like, this doesn't seem right. Well, you could click the link where I have the price and it's going to take you directly. Like, I don't want any of this coming back to me and going, you lied. Like, oh no, I didn't.
Knock on wood.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, I work for a state university, so it's like, I don't want the whole government coming in on me for lying on this.
I'm glad to say I've never had to deal with the IRS, and I hope I don't have to.
I'm in the same boat there with you.
But the government did something really evil to us this year. I don't know if anyone caught this, but there's going to be a lot of unhappy people at the end of this year when they get a 1099 or whatever that thing is saying you sold more than $600 worth of stuff on eBay or PayPal or another service. Do you know about that?
Yep. Yeah. Yep. And it's also your bank reports if there's $600 or more that enters the bank account. I've said it. I said it not on here, but I've said it for a while. They're going to get their money back that they gave you through COVID. Hell or high water.
I don't know. I'm just like really, I already do account for all that, but I'm like, there's going to be a lot of people who this is a very casual hobby thing, and today it's like you could sneeze and spend $600. So.
What's so weird is the people who have turned it into a giant business for themselves too. Because Input and I used to go to this flea market that's down the street from us, literally down the street. And these people now have storefronts because they turned what was originally a hobby into a full-blown business, like leaving their jobs just to do this. And when it was just a weekend hobby, getting rid of their collection.
Oh, well, eBay has enabled all of that with all that cheap stuff from China. And I'm amazed by how thrifty some people have been just in the fandom, from making upgrade labels to 3D printed parts to, accessories and even boxes.
Right.
But I think it's kind of sad that they're targeting all of those new small businesses when Apple and Amazon and these guys are getting refunds of billions of dollars. It's like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah. Something ain't right there. I'll tell you that much.
And I can promise you, all of those $600 is taxed, added up, are not going to touch what those guys are walking away not paying. Billions of dollars is insane. A lot of money. It's not just $600. It's crazy money.
I mean, they're gonna hit everybody, and it's gonna be. I don't even want to think about it, to be honest. But
well, I mean, I think what it's going to do is it's going to cool things off. So all of a sudden, all those scalpers are going to be like, "Oh crap!"
yeah,
Now,
No,
every buck I'm making, about 18 cents, is going to go to Uncle Sam now. So that $10.
I do have I had told Input this a while ago, but I do think that that's going to put a damper on the scalpers, like for sure.
Well, that's a good thing. I don't think that's a bad thing.
I don't think it's a bad thing, but I don't think you're right, Oracle. I think what's going to happen is they're gonna take that hit, and then they're gonna turn around and be like, oh, well, we're gonna have to charge an extra 10% on top of the eBay fees, on top of the shipping, on top of everything that makes the price in excess on eBay. We're gonna charge an extra 10% on top of that. So that way we cover that $600 whatever tax thing, make sure that we're in the clear this year. I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're not going to pay $600. You're going to pay tax on $600. Whatever your bracket is, if it's 22 or 18 or 15 or 12 or whatever, you'll pay that percent on whatever it is. And the same thing will happen to scalpers. So I think the more they have to raise their prices, the less they're going to sell. That's my guess, but I don't know. Maybe I don't buy from scalpers as a principle, and because I'm also a cheapskate.
That and the scalpers know that people are gonna fear of missing out, so they go and have bots buying everything left, right, and center for them on the websites, and then they know
I
that
used
they
to be mad about the Transformers thing, and then I started when they started making the Transformers Funko stuff. I was like, oh my god, it's completely, utterly, totally ruthless in Funko land. It's not even like a consideration that you're going to get it at retail. It's like, where am I going to get this from someone else from?
Right.
Yep. That sucks.
Dude, when I was working at GameStop, they had the wall of Funkos, man.
Oh yeah, they still do.
Yeah, and we would have people. We'd have people come in and I mean, I've seen people do it with toys and cards and whatever games, whatever, right? But like to see somebody sit down on these Funko walls and just go through these Funko Pops and then get really excited because you got a gold, I don't know, a gold Lara Croft super rare, one of 400, blah, blah, blah. And then I heard, I can't wait to put this on eBay. This is gonna like this just funded the last 30 Funko Pops I bought. Like, what? I don't know, man.
Nothing is as glorious as watching the videos of a bunch of people raiding the cart filled with Raydon product and fighting each other and breaking the Raydon while the employees are just pulling the cart out and running for their lives.
Oh, at Comic-Con, people camp out for nights, days to buy those things. It's like, whoa.
Yeah,
I just don't have that.
I will say my dad did wait out overnight for our Christmas gift for the PlayStation 2. So,
oh boy. Go, Dad.
He did do that. He did do that.
I remember the Wii Midnight launch, man. That was.
I remember that too.
Good night, dude. That was hectic.
That was right around when we first started dating, and I came to just to moral support and buy pizza.
Yep.
Well, it was like you were saying, the psychology is kind of what rules all this, and you can just look at the whole Funko thing and see how the head and the body are all basically the same. You really only have variations in the face and the coloring and a little bit of sculpting, although they've gotten much, much better, I think, the last couple of years. They've kind of broken out of that big-headed Cupid doll look. But I often wonder, are we just going to be down to stickers one day, or are these companies going to get so smart where they're like, what are we making toys for? We could just put out pogs and stickers, bottle caps.
I mean, look at look at silly bands during the height of the recession. You know how those were like the cheapest things ever, and kids went nuts. I was teaching at the time, and this was high school, and I got to the point where I would go, and I worked at Hobby Lobby at the same time, so I would buy with my discount like 4 or 5 packs of the silly bands, and I would bribe the teenagers. Okay, here's a monkey. Who wants to answer this question and get it right? And then the hands go up. Like, and those were literally pennies worth, not even pennies. I think they were a fraction of pennies of
positive reinforcement.
Yep.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter. Like with the right advertising in the right situation, like if this were any other time, those things wouldn't have been. No one would have considered it, but because they were cheap, they were cute, and they were multicolored, and they came in fun shapes, of course the kids are going to like it, and the parents like it because it's cheaper than going out and buying an action figure off the shelf. So, I mean, I would see, it was like when the Lance Armstrong, Livestrong bands were really popular when I was in high school. That's what it was. These students just wearing like armloads of these silly bands all the way up to their elbows. And if they got one wrong, they would have to give one to me.
Well,
that's how I get my collection.
That's like the perfect thing for a young person because they want to belong and be accepted and feel like they're part of a message so much. And what's better than a band on your wrist? Like, here's my tribe, man. Check me out, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, there's all these fads that are constantly replaced for kids. Like a few years ago, there were those fidget spinner things. I'm like, who came up with this completely mind-numbingly stupid thing?
People who have ADHD. I remember having a few of those kinds of like hand manipulators for my students who were ADHD and they just needed to fidget while they were listening.
At least a Rubik's Cube, there was a puzzle. Those spinners were just like, what the heck? This is.
I saw people trying to do tricks or whatever you would call them with it, and it was like, dude, you could do like 4 tricks and then you're done. It's not a yoga.
My favorites is the really well-trained dogs, and they take the fidget spinner and it would be spinning on the dog's nose while the dog is very, very still. Those are my favorites.
Well, I don't know if you've seen the latest thing. It's they're basically these sheets in different colors and formats of rubber bubbles that you push in and out.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
I'll show you
a couple
some
of these Optimus Prime ones that I found recently. I'm just like, oh my god, this is invading everything. It's literally just a bubble that you push in, turn over, and push back out.
It's literally reusable bubble wrap without the satisfying pop.
There you go. Yeah.
But I like it. But okay. So this is. I swear man. I might have ADHD, like because these things are so entertaining to me because we got some at the university as swag. Like this was stuff that we were allowed to give out to our donors, and I pulled one out just to play with it, and I spent like a whole. I forgot my crochet at home, so I'm not crocheting while I'm on this meeting, this Zoom meeting, but I'm playing with this in the school's block letters. I'm here playing with this little bubble thing, and I'm the entire time like just touching it. And I'm here like, God, this was made for people like me. Like I've not once been diagnosed with like ADHD or anything like that. But geez, those toys just seem to occupy me very, very well when I'm in a meeting. Otherwise, I'm doodling.
I have to wonder if they don't cause ADHD more than they accommodate it. It's like read a book or something, man. Come on. I don't know.
I mean, I think kids or people in general now, we just got too many choices. I think that's what causes ADHD. What do you want to watch? I don't know. Hulu? Nah. YouTube? Nah. Netflix? Nah. It's just. And then when you pick something, now you got to go down the list of what you got to pick.
Oh, I agree with you, and I think that creates an even worse feedback loop where it's like the minute you start watching something or you're bored, it's like, oh, let's watch something else.
Yeah,
It's
10
hard.
minutes.
I
10
have
minutes.
found that it can be hard to stick with the whole movie. You know, halfway into it, the steam starts to drag, and I'm like, I can feel myself like itching to switch it, and I'm like, I've watched this movie before. It's great. Why am I doing that?
That's why I crochet
Right.
while watch. It keeps me it keeps my hands occupied and I can pay attention. So I'm not like, so if it lulls, I can count my stitches or something.
But yeah,
That's me though.
I agree with you, BaCon. It's there have been a few times where I'm like, okay, scene's dragging, I grab my phone and then I'm on eBay or whatever, or whatever it is, and it's like, oh man, what am I doing? It's only like 30 minutes left in the movie. I can sit here, I can watch this. Just but
I need some minimum level of stimulus at all times.
well, before we head out of here, guys, BaCon, you want to tell them where they could find you and do all that stuff, man? Tell them about T-formers, man. Tell them about why everything goes better with a side of bacon.
Well, bacon adds the salt and the fat and all those things you're not supposed to have. And T-formers is kind of the same. We try to cover everything that everybody's excited about, and I try to do it in a way that is unbiased. So I know that there are people who don't like third party. I know that there are people who don't like certain reviewers who get stolen stuff. I know there are people who don't like something about the site, but my feeling is really, you don't want me deciding what you should know, right? So I just put it all up, and it's up for you to decide what you want to like and not like and look at. And that's part of why the site is heavily categorized, and you can just look at reviews or news or third party or whatever. But all of that can be found at tformers.com, and you can pretty much follow that keyword on social media, but ultimately it will send you back to the website there. So that's about it.
And I think the links are in the description below for T-formers.
Yes, that would be good.
I want to say I put them in there. Look, I forget sometimes. I will admit that, just because I get ball rolling, but they should be down there. So yeah, man, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, check out tformers.com. And BaCon, we always let the guest close out the show, man. So any words of aspiring wisdom that you want to share with the audience out there?
Well, take your hobby serious, and don't get too hung up on it, or you'll be unhappy all the time.